Hello, I'm Serena Wright, Title III Program Specialist at the OPI, and I wanted to go through a document that we use for the Title III grant, and it's the Consortium Agreement. So I just wanted to take a couple moments to go through the form and what I'm looking for in each section. Title III allocations work a little bit differently than the rest of the grants. So Title III states that no award can be less than $10,000. Typically, larger districts with a larger population of English learners, they'll be able to qualify as a standalone district, as a standalone sub-grantee district. However, most districts in Montana are part of consortiums because you don't reach that $10,000 minimum. So we bundle groups of districts together to meet that $10,000 minimum allocation. So what that means is that there must be a fiscal agent that will receive the funds for the smaller districts and also be in charge of filling out the grant application and monitoring the spending down, processing cash requests for the consortia districts. In order to do that, an annual agreement must be filled out. And in that agreement, as we see in the next few slides, is you outline what your program will look like, how many students you're serving, what professional development you will be obtaining, and the fiscal agent puts all of that information in their ESEA consolidated application. And on the fiscal agent's application, they will line item what each district amount is and how they're spending it in the program details. So the consortium districts will not fill out the Title III ESEA consolidated app. The fiscal agents do. Okay, and then when consortium districts are ready to spend down their funds, they will submit requests to the fiscal agent. So this is a screenshot of the top of the form, the agreement form, and I realize there is a lot going on in this page, so let me break it down. We'll start at the top left-hand corner. When you receive this document via email, I will fill in what your allocation is, I will fill in your district name, and I will also fill in who the fiscal agent is for this consortium. So the top section will be all filled out for you. I just wanted to take note of some of the information. Starting with arrow number 1. So this is your per pupil allocation based on last school year. The number of ELs you have identified in AIM Infinite Campus, there is a per pupil allocation. So if you are serving 10 students and our allocation last year was about $90, that is where that $900 comes from. That is what the allocation is. Again, this was for last school year. Okay. The district information. So now arrow number 2, the name of your district will be marked in there. And then arrow number 3, the fiscal agent of the consortium will be listed. When I send you this agreement form via email, I will also make sure I include the information for the fiscal agent's clerk. So you know who to send your form back to. Their email address will be on there. When you are ready to pay invoices or submit cash requests, or ask that cash requests are submitted on your behalf, you will know who to reach out to. Okay. The last piece, arrow number 4, is the most important. So you will return this agreement before the ESEA consolidated application deadline. 1 copy goes to the fiscal agent and 1 to the OPI's Title III person, me, Serena Wright. So when I send this to you by email, you will fill it out and send it back to the clerk or the fiscal agent of the consortium, and you will also include me on that email. I keep a copy of all of the agreement forms. On this section of the document, you will notate who you are serving. So this form is already ready to go for next school year, and you will describe your plan for the 25-26 school year, which grade levels will be served, and the number of English learners to be served. Now, what you don't know is you don't know how many of your new students, your new kindergartners or new students coming to your school are English learners until you screen them using the WIDA screener. So just go off the number that you know when you're filling out this document. So arrow number 1 says which grade levels will you be serving. If you're a K-12 district, you would mark K-12. If you are separate elementary and high school district, you will receive separate forms for each district. So, for example, Harlem Elementary, Harlem High School, in their email for their consortia, they will receive one email, but with 2 attachments. So just notate the school name. If it's the elementary, then it would be K-8. And if it's your high school, then it would be 9-12 on the form. Arrow number 2 asks, how many students will you be serving? So based on last school year's data, because that's what you have readily available at this moment. And keep in mind the grade range. So if you know you have 30 students district-wide, well, how many are part of your elementary district and how many are in your high school district? Okay. Lastly, arrow number 3, make sure you indicate all students that qualify for EL status in AIM Infinite Campus. So for those new students, you will be reviewing their home language survey and screening those that need to be screened. Make sure after you finish the screening process, and if they are identified as EL, then you are marking them in AIM, because again, that will affect your allocation for the following year. So on this slide, take your time to look it over, but this is a sample plan. Okay, so what is this district going to do? They're an elementary district. They're going to serve 10 students. They have a $900 allocation. We will use funds to purchase supplemental reading and language materials. Remember, Title III is supplemental. Okay. We will also use the funds to offer a stipend for teachers to obtain their ESL endorsement. I just saw that this was not allowable use. So if you have a teacher that wants to obtain their ESL endorsement, you could give them a stipend to complete that. All right. So not only do you have to have an instructional program and activities outlined, you must outline your professional development. That is a must do. So what is your professional development going to focus on? Content area instruction, instructional strategies is what I marked here. And then what is the plan? So we will complete WIDA assessment training, offer stipends for teachers to complete WIDA e-workshops. We will attend the OPI's Mellon meetings and share information strategies with teachers. So I host, it's typically monthly, Mellon meetings, which is Montana English Learner Instructional Network. And in those meetings, we'll talk about update on information, different strategies, hear from other districts. But some of the PD with $900 allocated to your district, there may not be a lot of money for professional development. So WIDA offers e-workshops, and they're self-paced workshops that teachers can complete. And it's open for all teachers. They could receive CEUs for it, and it is free. It's part of our WIDA contract. Okay, so outlining what they will be doing. I did not mark down here Summer Institute, but that's another brilliant way to receive professional development and training that could be outlined here. The big piece that I want to remind you all of is, how are we sharing information with the general education teachers? So having one person with a wealth of knowledge around ELs, if it's the superintendent doing the WIDA testing, the attending Mellon, how are we disseminating that information to our in the classroom teachers who are working with ELs? So include some information about that. How are you going to make sure that the classroom teachers have the EL strategies to work with the students? Okay, so this is a blank section of the form where now you will describe your plan. Please feel free to click back to the past slide where it was a sample plan. You can look at what you did the previous years, but you have to have a professional development section filled out. So make sure you're noting what kind of professional development your teachers will have. Next is the budget section. So I just based this off of the activities in the sample plan. Personal services and salaries. Purpose category is down below. I'm going to follow that key. It's instruction. Stipend for EL endorsement, I put down $500. And again, if there is anything for salaries, there has to be benefits. So I put $100. Purpose category is 10. It is still instruction. And then those supplemental materials I wanted to purchase. Those would be 600 supplies. 10 for instruction for supplies that are instruction, and then also 21 for parent family involvement. So we're going to buy a RazKids subscription and family engagement meetings. We'll offer some food. I would have separated those out, but I did not see another section in this table to separate those out to put how much RazKids subscription is compared to what we will use for our family engagement meetings, materials, if we're paying for childcare, any light meals or snacks. So if I was to redo this description, I would put the dollar amounts there so that when the fiscal agent's clerk receives this, they can easily put that into the budget pages on the ESEA consolidated application. Another hint, another note is training, stipends for training, professional development could also be part of your Title II budget. So seeing as how there's only $900 for Title III, maybe the stipend for the EL endorsement or the ongoing training, professional development, I would not use Title III funds for. Maybe I would use my Title II funds for that. So another idea. And this is a blank page for the budget, just a sample so you can see what the blank page looks like and you can fill in the information you have for how you want to spend your Title III funds. Here is the last section at the very bottom of page 2, and it is the signature page. So some things I highlighted. The preliminary allocation is an estimate. The final amount for the budgeting of Title III or the allocation for Title III is under the funding tab. So even if you're part of a consortium, you will still see your Title III funds listed under the funding tab, but they will have parentheses around them and they'll be in red. When you click on that, it states who your fiscal agent is. Some fiscal agents may take 2% in administrative or indirect costs. That is their cost for having their clerk process your cash requests, pay your invoices, complete the consolidated application. So lastly, you will sign. You'll write in the authorized representative's name for arrow number 1. You will type in the name of the district for arrow number 2, sign and date. And this entire form is a fillable form. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is back on the first slide. Thank you so much.